Hi everyone, this is Marianne and welcome to my channel. In this video, I would like to share with you my process for creating my daily pages for December 2017 and January 2018. Now, I usually print out my daily pages 1 month at a time, but I printed December and January together because there's travel in between December and January because of the holidays. So I want to be able to bring my inserts for January while I'm on vacation in February. So this is the process that I went through. You've already seen how to create um, planner pages on InDesign, and this is the same thing that I'm using. I'm on InDesign, and I just put the grid on there and the tracking boxes, which I showed in the tutorial how to do. The tracking boxes, I mean, and the dates. And then I put all of the icons on there, and the use of the icons have evolved over time. I didn't start with these icons before. um, I'll leave a link down below about the evolution of my planner pages. But if you can see that small box there that I'm highlighting, um, I am trying to figure out what habits to track because I want to be able to develop some small but important habits in my life, and I have decided on adding flossing, morning routine, and a 5-minute walk to work and a 5-minute walk home after work. And then after all of the pages are done, we are going to print. But first, here's the paper that I'm using. It is the blank cream colored Tomoe River paper from Raymay Da Vinci. These are personal sized. It's codenamed DR338L, and I purchased these from Kawaii Tokyo on Etsy, and I also have a review of her store, which I will link down below. Now here's how I print on Tomoe River paper. First, I specify what pages I want to print. I don't print them all in one go, and I don't even print all of the odd pages first and then flip the stack over and print the even numbered pages next. I don't do that. I print only 2 pages at a time and then set the custom size to 95 millimeters by 171 millimeters. And then when the paper feeds into the printer, here's what I do in order to be sure that the pages feed straight and not lopsided. Once the printer is ready to print, I just lift the top sheet up and then put my finger on there, sort of like an extra guide for the paper to feed straight and not crooked. So now let's have another look at that. Here is the page that has already been printed on, and I just turned it over to print the page that is on the flip side of it. And then I turn on the print command on InDesign on the computer, and then I position my hands like so. I just lift the top sheet up and then put my thumb down on the stack underneath it, and then use my other fingers as a sort of guide or additional guide so that the paper will feed in straight and not crooked. And at first it looks tedious, but it's really not. Once you get the hang of it, like I've been doing this since January 2016, and it's not a problem at all. And with some printers, you don't even have to do this. Like with the first 2 printers that I used, I didn't even have to do this, but this is a rather different printer, and sometimes it prints crooked. And even if it prints crooked, it's not too crooked, but this is something that I found out that kind of helps. And after all of the pages are printed out, we can now put all of the parts together. I have already printed out and colored in my Hyperdex color key, and then here are the pages for December and January. Now, the one difference that I have made, aside from the habit tracker box, is that I removed that icon there. If you can remember from my previous videos about this, the icon for the other people used to be at the top of that box, but I moved it down and now I removed it completely. And there is the habit tracker. The last three items, morning routine, 5 plus 5 minute walk, and flossed, are habits that I want to start for myself. And the other items are just for monitoring what goes on in my life, like if I have to change the towel or if it's time to wash my hair, because for instance, maybe I haven't washed it in 3 days. It sounds a little yucky, but well, it's real life. So I have to track it. And here are the pages for January as well. And if you're already familiar with my system, you will remember that I have other elements that I have to add onto these pages, such as the tip-in sheets, like the tip-ins for the weekly task list and the tip-in for the weekly summaries. I also still use the side reminder tabs, and I will link a video of it down below, but for now we are just assembling the pages and we are not yet putting the side reminder tabs on because I'm not yet putting my appointments on the pages. Now for the tip-ins for the weekly task sheet, which I tip in to the edge of the right page, I don't really need to cut the paper down anymore. What I do is I just fold it over and put glue onto that part that's been folded over, and then I just paste it onto the edge of the paper in such a way that when the tip-in is folded out, that sheet is exposed even though I flip through the pages. And what I write on those tip-ins are really just tasks that I have to do for that particular week, but I have no idea yet what day of the week I have to actually do them. But they're there so that I won't forget, and when the time comes or when the day comes that I can do them, I just simply write them over to that appropriate page for the day. The process for tipping in these sheets for the weekly summary is slightly different because I tip in these sheets to the pages that are on the left of the binder, and the way that the paper is configured, we have the hole punching on that side of the paper. So I have to cut down the edges with the hole punching so that when the tip-ins are actually folded out, there are no sheets with holes on them. At this point, I realized that my paper trimmer has a very, very dull blade. So one of the Tomoe River paper got stuck on it because the blade is very dull and I never really noticed. But I guess when you're trimming very thin paper on there, the blade has to be really, really sharp. So I just ended up using a pair of scissors to cut away the edges with the hole punching on them. But once the edges with the holes have already been cut out, the process now already becomes the same as the process for the tip-in for the right. So I just fold over the edge that has to be glued to the insert for the daily pages. And then I use the glue stick on the edge that has been folded over, and then I simply paste it onto that part. And it's really just sort of like a mirror image of the weekly task tip-in, because it's the same thing but it's on the other side and it contains a summary instead of a task list. So it's really that simple. Now, my planner pages might look very, very complicated to people who are not familiar with planning or who are not familiar with the way that I plan. But I have videos in my YouTube channel explaining how I plan, and that is from around March 2013. And I have rewatched it recently, and I have realized that I do have to film a new video about how I plan. I need to update the information in that video by coming up with a new video because some things have already changed in the way that I plan. Like my planner pages have been tweaked so many times, but I still plan using the same planning principles. I still have the same priorities and the same goals in planning. Those are still the same, but the way that I plan has changed a little bit over the years, and that's what I want to talk about in the video that I will be making soon. So if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and then click the little bell button right beside it so that you can get a notification when I already upload that video so you can watch it right away. And that's my video for you today. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, bye!